Hello and welcome to Study Digital. Before I begin, I would like to state a small quote by Michael Faraday which says, "But still try, for who knows what is possible." Now you'll have a picture displayed on your screens. Can you look at this picture and tell me what do you all observe? So, on the left we see a boy who is completely drained. As you all can see, this battery here, it indicates that the battery is extremely low. That means this boy doesn't have any amount of strength left to perform any type of activity. So he decides to eat some food. He consumes food in the form of fruits, vegetables, and some dairy products. After he eats food, he has the strength now. You all can see this battery is full now. So from low battery to full battery. Now he has the strength to perform any type of activity or carry out any kind of work. So can you all tell me what exactly happened after he ate the food? So this food, it gave him some energy. Before consuming the food, he was completely drained, and after eating the food, he was very active. He had the energy to perform any type of work or carry out any type of activity. So let us now look at the energy and the different forms of energy. So energy and its types. What is energy? Let us look into. Energy is the ability of a body to do work. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be only converted or transferred from one object to another object, or it can be converted from one form to another form. So no matter what type of work do we do, our daily chores also, so it requires energy. And energy cannot be created, it is always existent. Just like the example that we saw. The energy of the food was transferred to the boy. So after consuming the energy from the food, he had the energy in his body to carry out any type of work. So it got transferred from the food to the boy. Organisms use energy to survive, grow, respond to stimuli, reproduce, and for every type of biological process. So obviously, if the boy did not consume food say for a month, so his health will keep on decreasing. It will keep getting worse. So that's why we need energy. For example, just the one which we took, we need energy, maybe in the form of food for us to survive and grow, to respond to stimuli. Now for example, since it's monsoon, so when it rains outside, in the external environment, in your surroundings, when you leave the house, you take an umbrella. So based on the external environment, based on your surrounding, that's how you respond. You take an umbrella since it's raining outside. So that is what is responding to stimuli. We need it for reproducing or for any other type of biological process, say respiration, excretion, digestion, all the various kinds of biological process. Everything requires energy. In modern civilization, energy has become a primary need along with food, clothing, and shelter. So the basic necessities of a human being is food, clothing, and shelter. But besides that, we need energy. Now in earlier times, if we go back to the caveman period, they had very limited work to do. Build their shelter, their huts, or go hunting and gather food. So that was very limited work that they did. But in modern times that we see, we need energy to do so many different types of work. And with the development of technology, there is more energy requirement. So now we need more energy. So besides food, clothing, and shelter, energy has also become a necessity. We need energy in different forms for different types of works. The energy that we need may be in the form of mechanical energy, chemical energy, sound energy, light energy or heat energy. So let us now look at how do we get these different forms of energy. So here we have heat energy and light energy. Of course, we get heat energy and light energy from the sun, and this energy of the sun is also called as solar energy. Now plants use this solar energy to carry out the process of photosynthesis. Then you will see a car moving on the road. The father is driving the car. How does the car move? How does the car run? It is because of the fuel, that is either the petrol or diesel. Now this fuel is in the form of chemical energy. That's how the car runs. Next we have kinetic energy. You all see two kids playing here. Now how are they playing? They're playing football and they're moving the ball left to right, and they themselves are moving from left to right hitting the ball. So when they're moving left to right, they are possessing kinetic energy. That is, the energy when a body is moving is known as kinetic energy. Next we have potential energy. Now you all see the radio and these people are sitting. They are not performing any activity. They are not doing any movement. They are not in motion. So when a body is at rest, it is said to have potential energy. Next, there is a radio here and people are listening to songs on the radio. So obviously the voice or the song that is audible is because of the sound energy. And the electrical energy here, that is the battery, the circuit of the radio, how it is playing. So that is based on the principle of electrical energy. Now you all see children playing here on a seesaw. So the seesaw, as it goes up and down, the children are also moving up and down. So it is said to have mechanical energy. Mechanical energy is the energy possessed by a body due to both its motion as well as its position. Next we have heat energy. You all see a man, he is grilling food here. So when he grills food, the food is being cooked. It is because of the heat energy. Next we have wind energy. You all see two kids flying kite here. How does the kite fly in the sky? It is because of the wind. It is because of the moving air, and that moving air is called as wind. So this is how we have wind energy. Now you all see a tree here. You all see a griller here. You all see an old woman here, or for that matter a radio here. All these objects are in its place. They are not performing any kind of activity. They are not moving. They are not in motion. They are stationary. They are still. So when a body is at rest, it is said to have potential energy. Now let us learn how these different sources of energy can be used to create electrical energy. And there are various different methods involved, and these different methods are based on different scientific principles. So we will discuss about it, and we will also look at the advantages and the disadvantages of these methods. So all this we will be discussing in the chapter towards green energy. So first let us have a look at the generation of electrical energy. Most of the electric power plants are based on the principle of electromagnetic induction. This principle of electromagnetic induction was invented by Michael Faraday, whose quote I read for you all at the beginning of the session. So it was this scientist. According to this principle, whenever magnetic field around a conductor changes, a potential difference is generated across the conductor. The field around the conductor can be changed in two ways. If a conductor is stationary and the magnet is rotating, the field around the conductor changes. Or second, if a magnet is stationary but the conductor is moving, then also the field around the conductor will change. So in both the cases, a potential difference is created across the conductor. Now let us see how this works. So in this case, you need a magnet and you need a conductor. As you can see, we have a magnet here and we have a conductor here, which consists of a coil and a voltmeter, right? So what happens now? Consider you're holding two things in your hands. In your left hand you are holding a magnet, and in your right hand you're holding a conductor. You keep your right hand still, you don't move it, whereas you have a magnet in your left hand. The magnet always has magnetic field around it. Here also, as you all can see, these lines, these dotted lines, they are denoting the magnetic field of this magnet. So when you're holding the magnet in your left hand at position A, you are holding it at a distance from your right hand, okay? So when you're holding it at position A, there is magnetic field of the magnet also at position A. Now your left hand is with the magnet and your right hand is with the conductor. You slowly move your left hand towards the conductor a little more further. So from A you come to position B. So what happens? The magnetic field also changes. Now from point A, the magnetic field has shifted to point B along with the magnet. Now again you bring your left hand a little more closer towards your right hand, that is, you bring it a little more closer to the conductor. So what happened now? From point A to point B, now to point C, the position of the magnet as well as the magnetic field changed. So when the magnetic field comes in the area of the conductor, a potential difference is created across the conductor. Understood? Now this was the first case scenario. Now we have the second case, where you have a conductor in your right hand and you have a magnet in your left hand. Now you keep the magnet stationary. That is, you don't move your left hand, and you move the conductor now, that is, you move your right hand. So your left hand is still, and you bring the conductor from point A to point B, then from point B to point C, that is close to the magnet. Now because of the magnet and the magnetic field around the magnet, when the conductor is brought around the magnetic field, again a potential difference is created. Okay, so in both the cases, as we discussed, no matter what, no matter if the magnet is stationary and the conductor is moving, or the conductor is stationary and the magnet is moving, in both the cases a magnetic field, because of the magnetic field, a potential difference is created across the conductor. This is the basic principle of electromagnetic induction. Here also, if you all see in this diagram, we have a rotating magnet. So as you all see, this is the first case scenario where the magnet is in motion and the conductor is stationary. So when the magnet rotates, the magnetic field will also rotate along with the magnet. As the position of the magnet changes, the position of the magnetic field will also change. And when the conductor or the magnetic field comes in the area of the conductor, there is a potential difference created. This potential difference is nothing but the current that is created, that is the electrical current. Now, the amount of electrical current that has been created can be measured using this voltmeter that is attached to the conductor. Okay, so this is the basic principle of electromagnetic induction, how it works. Now let us look how this principle is used in electrical generator to produce electrical energy. The electric power generating machine based on the principle of electromagnetic induction is called electrical generator. Large generators are used in commercial power generation plants. A turbine that has blades is used to rotate the magnet in the generator. When a flow of liquid or gas is directed on the blades of the turbine, it rotates because of the kinetic energy of the flow of the liquid. This turbine is connected to the electric generator. Thus, the magnet in the electric generator starts rotating and electric energy is produced. So let us have a look at how this works. So here we have a rotating wheel. Okay, and this is a shaft. This shaft is connected to the electric generator here, right? Now this rotating wheel, or we can say a turbine, has blades. All these are the blades, right? This is a nozzle from where high velocity or high speed, high force of water is thrown on the blade. Now because of the force, the wheel starts rotating. Now when this wheel starts rotating, what happens? As we studied in the principle of electromagnetic induction, we have the conductor here, we have the magnet here, which is a rotating magnet, and this turbine is connected to the generator via a shaft that is here. So when this turbine starts rotating, the magnet in the conductor starts rotating at an angle of 360 degrees. So it goes round and round like this. And since we have a conductor here, we have this coil here. Because the magnet rotates, the magnetic field also rotates. That is, when the position of the magnet changes, position of the magnetic field also changes, and when it comes around the conductor, there is a potential difference created. The potential difference is nothing but the electrical energy. So that's how the electrical generator is used in the production of electrical energy. So this is a flowchart that can summarize the whole working of an electrical generator, where we use a proper energy source to run the turbine. So what did we use here? We used water. We used water of high velocity, and that was put on the blades of the turbine, and because of that the turbine started rotating. Now when the turbine started rotating, the magnet in the generator, it started rotating. Because the magnet started rotating, the magnetic field also kept changing its position, and when it came around the coil in the conductor, the potential difference was created. That is, the electrical energy was finally created. Now we have another method. We have another method here wherein we can create electrical energy, and that is known as thermal energy based electric power station. So first we saw how we can create electrical energy using an electric generator. Now we will see how we can create electric energy using thermal energy. So based on which type of energy source is used to rotate the turbine, there are different types of power generating stations. The design of the turbine is used in different types of power station is also different. So what happens? The basic design that I showed you all of the turbine, it is not necessary that you use that same type in all different power stations or in all different types of methods. Based on the type of energy that you use, the design of the turbine also changes. In this, the turbine is rotated using steam. So in case of thermal energy based electric power station, the turbine is rotated using steam. Earlier, in case of electric generator, we saw it was rotated using liquid, high speed or high velocity of liquid. Water is heated in a boiler. Using thermal energy released during the burning of the coal, steam of very high temperature and pressure is generated. The energy in the steam drives the turbine. Thus, the generator connected to the turbine rotates and the electrical energy is produced. The steam is converted back into water and the water is recirculated to the boiler. Since thermal energy is used to generate electrical energy, such power plants are called as thermal power plants. Let us look at how this works. So here we have the whole setup of a thermal energy based electric power station. Now first let us look at this part. Here we have a boiler. As you all can see in the diagram, this boiler, you all see this division here. So this part of the boiler is filled with water and this part of the boiler is filled with fuel and air. Now what fuel are we using here? We are using coal. So when the water is heated in this boiler with the help of the fuel that we have, that is coal, a steam of very high pressure and temperature is created. Now this steam possesses kinetic energy. So with the help of this powerful steam, the turbine is rotated. So the kinetic energy of the steam is used to rotate the turbine. Now this turbine is connected to our electric generator. What is the construction of the electric generator? See, it's connected via this shaft. The construction of the electric generator consists of a conductor, which includes a coil, a voltmeter and a rotating magnet. So because of the steam, because of the kinetic energy of the steam that we got through heating the boiler or the water in the boiler, the turbine starts rotating. When the turbine starts rotating, the magnet in the generator starts rotating. So the magnet keeps changing its position. So along with the position of the magnet, the magnetic field also changes as in where it rotates. And when it comes in contact to the conductor, there is potential difference created. That is, electrical energy is finally created. Now there is much more to this. So once the electrical energy is created here, we have steam that was used. So because the steam, now it's hot water, right? Because we heated the water, the steam will also be hot. So the water molecules of the steam are then put into the condenser here. Now it is warm water. This warm water, it goes from the condenser to this cooling tower. Now in the cooling tower, the warm water is settled here and all the hot air or the vapor is released here in the form of vapor. Finally, the cooled water that we collected here, using this pump, it is again put in back to the boiler. Again, the water in the boiler is heated, the steam is created, the kinetic energy of the steam is used to rotate the turbine. The turbine, as it rotates the magnet in the generator, and again, because of that, we have the potential difference created, that is the electrical energy created. Also, one point here is that we have this stack here, you all can see, or you all can call it as a chimney. Now because of the fuel that we used, coal, we heated the coal, right? So because when we heat coal, what happens? Obviously smoke is released. So that smoke is then removed with the help of this chimney into the environment. So this is the basic working of thermal energy based electric power station. So what happens here? We use a fuel, that is coal, in order to heat the water in the boiler, and that water is converted into steam. This steam possesses kinetic energy. The kinetic energy of the steam is used to rotate the turbine. As the turbine rotates, the electric generator, which consists of the magnet, the rotating magnet, that rotates. So when it comes around the conductor or in contact with the conductor, the magnetic field, it creates a potential difference, and that's how our electrical energy is created. And in between, we also have this system for converting the steam back into water with the help of the condenser, the cooling tower and the pump, right? So this is the energy transformation in a thermal power plant. We have the chemical energy in coal, then that chemical energy is then converted to thermal energy. The thermal energy is then converted to kinetic energy in the form of steam. This is used to rotate the turbine, again the kinetic energy, and finally, because the turbines rotate, the magnet rotates, and when the magnet rotates, it comes around in contact with the coil or the conductor, and when it comes around the conductor, the magnetic field, because of the magnetic field, there is a potential difference created, and this potential difference is nothing but the electrical energy. Now along with this thermal power plant, it is a very good way of creating electrical energy, But also we have some problems that are caused due to the thermal energy based electric power station. So let us have a look at these problems. So the first problem is air pollution due to the burning of coal. Burning of coal results in the emission of gases like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, which are harmful to health. So we use coal to heat the water in the boiler, and in case of thermal energy based electric power station, the energy resource that we use is coal. So again, this coal, it can create various health problems. Along with the emission of gases due to the burning of coal, soot particles, that is toxic substances, are released into the environment. This again may cause serious health problems related to respiratory system, for example lung cancer or breathing issues. The reserves of fuel used in this method, that is coal, that we used here, is limited. As we all know, coal is a depleting natural resource. So therefore, in future, there will be limitations on the availability of coal. Now let us have a quick recap about what all we studied in today's session. So first was we studied different forms of energy, that is potential energy, kinetic energy, sound energy, mechanical energy, electrical energy, heat and light energy, chemical and wind energy. We also saw how these different energy resources can be used in the generation of electrical energy, which can be done in two ways. First is using the electric generator, and second using thermal energy. Under electric generator, this works on the principle of electromagnetic induction, which includes a magnet, a conductor, a liquid or steam, and turbine. For thermal energy based electric power station, we have electric generator, again which works on the principle of electromagnetic induction. We need coal, we need steam turbine and a boiler. So that's it for this video. I will catch you in the next one. Happy learning!